Hey folks, how you doing? My name is Alex. I am in Dockyard, Bermuda. Isn't this wonderful? Got these jet skis. Let me put these jet skis in the background. Man, it's kind of quiet up here in Dockyard. Let me put these jet skis. Now you see them jet skis? I need to get me one of those. Those are fun. I mean, it's been a while since I got in one, but those are great fun. Let me see if I could get a close up. Hey! Yes, what you guys gotta get some jet skis. Fun. Well, what I got for you for today? Today I'm gonna talk about adversity because I just happened to be listening to two audio different things to do. One was with Dave Sharp, and the other one was actually Joel Osteen. So I said both of them were talking about adversity and how good adversity is. That how much we need adversity. Like wow, I don't like it too much, but adversity is sometimes what we need to kick us in the pants. And that's what we need sometimes. A good, swift kick in the pants to make us do something. Now, when I was listening to the Dave Sharp story, Dave Sharp was talking about when he was an addict. And he was having his issues as an addict. And he was talking that he was in a public toilet. Now, imagine this, a public toilet, dirty bathroom, and he wanted to get his fix on. So he was doing heroin. So he was so shaky with the heroin that he actually spilt it onto the toilet seat, the heroin. And that he was licking the toilet seat. He was licking the toilet seat to get it back. And then, it was this low moment of life. Very low moments that actually changed him. That actually said, wow, something's got to change. My life can't continue to be like this. And it drove him and it changed him. He became one of the best network marketers that we know right now. And founder and creator of the Empower Network. This is what those swift kicks in the pants. And sometimes we got to go through these extreme lows. You know what I mean? And Joe was talking about, when I was listening to Joe, he was talking about the Goliaths in our life. Yes, Bible story time. Yeah, Goliaths. So how are we going to have to deal with our Goliaths? We got Goliaths that are put there for us to conquer. Now, he was talking about David. If you remember the story of David, he had to fight Goliath and beat him up with some stones. But where would David be without Goliath? Where would David be without the Goliath? He certainly wouldn't be as great of a story as it is now. He defeated him with those stones. And this is what we have to defeat in our lives, these Goliaths. Well, anyway, got a great story for you today. And it's about a businessman. This is back in the day. And he was distraught. His business came to an end. Bankruptcy. Everything you could think of, the creditors, the merchants, nobody wanted to do anything with him. His life was pretty much over as he knew it. He was like, man, what am I going to do now? So he was sitting in a park bench, all depressed. He was all sad and blue and thinking to himself, man, life is almost over now. His business about to be closed down, his life dream is coming to an end. So an old man came by and sat next to him. And he said, what's wrong with you, son? And he said, well, he started telling him the story about how the creditors are coming in and taking everything from him. And how, well, it's over. Life, as he knows it, as his business life is almost over. And he was explaining the story to this old guy. And the old guy listened to him and he said, you know what, son? I can help you. And he goes, yeah? He said, yeah. So he pulled out a check, made out some money, gave him the check. The guy grabbed the check. He said, look, son, there's a deal for this. Come back in 1 year and you pay me back every single penny that's in there. So 1 year, we'll meet back here in this bench. The guy said, okay, sounds like a deal. And then he looked at the check. The check was signed John D. Rockefeller, one of the richest men in the world has ever seen. So the guy was excited. He was like, wow, man, So he ran back to his business. He was all pumped up. And you know what? He said, I'm not going to even use the money. I'm going to put that check right there in front of me, and I'm just going to return that check in 1 year's time. So he went back to his creditors. He fixed up his credit. He went back to his merchant, fixed a way to fix the problems. He just had new drive, new blood in him. And he just looked at that check. I don't need you today, check. Today's not the day I need you. And he would go back, work hard, and 1 year later, he was going back to the park to return the check. His business was finally set straight. Yeah, a few difficulties to go ahead, but nothing major. And you know, all those big problems were behind him because he took some serious action to get it all fixed, and he didn't even need the check. So he went to the park bench to see, to meet the old guy, and told him that, you know, and give him the thanks, and he said, hey, I didn't even need the check. So he's sitting there waiting, and you know, he's trying to waiting to see if the guy will come by, and then he sees him, and there's people with robes around him, and there's all kinds of madness going on, and he goes up to him and says, no, ma'am, I mean, what's going on? He said, no, he likes to run away from the asylum. And he likes to write these checks to people saying that he's John D. Rockefeller. He's been giving away these checks, and we got to try to keep him under supervision. It turned out that this guy was a guy from an asylum who liked to pretend he was John D. Rockefeller. So wow. But isn't that a great story? You know how you get that drive, and you just put things, and there's things that motivate you. You know, in the case of David Charb, it was the drug habit. It was getting to that low point where you're licking toilet seats that I gotta change. Life can't continue the way it is. And in the case of this guy was distraught. He was like, man, I can't continue. My business is gone. But he was like, no, I'm not going to use this check. I'm going to use this check as a motivator. So what motivates you? What's going to motivate you to deal with adversity? I know I'm going through my adversity right now, and it's Chicos. It's a hard thing to deal with. You know, dealing with divorce. Hey, how you guys doing? I'm back trying to complete this video once and for all. You know, I'm here, you know, a little park. And it's the best spot I could find for right now. I'm trying to beat the sun. But you know, in Dockyard, we were talking about dealing with adversity. And you know, I'm dealing with a personal adversity. You know, something that is very difficult for me. You know, I've been married for 20 years. And my wife basically gave me an ultimatum. It's time for you to go to the cubicle. You know, it's time for you to go use that accounting degree. You know, it's time, you know, that you... Oh, you better leave. And I said, I'm not going to go back to slavery. Slavery is not an option. To me, slavery was never an option, you know. And it hurts because you love someone, you know, and they don't feel your dream. They're not into what you're into. You know, they don't see the vision that you see. And, you know, it hurts being the way I am right now. I mean, I could only have 2 of my kids in at a time, you know. Hey. You know, after having the kids, you know, I could only have 2 because my apartment's so small. You know, I got a little garage apartment converted into a studio. So, hey, that's what I got to deal with right now. You know, that's my mantra to carry. And you know what? It's okay. You know, and you know, sometimes when we're going through these battles, we just got to start recognizing that there is a higher, something higher than us. You know, a higher force or a higher universe. You know, I just like, and I put my faith in it. You know, I put my faith in God and the universe. I know that there's a higher, something higher, and adversity is something that's going to make the strength. It's going to make me see the tomorrow, and it's going to make me stronger. So, you know, I wanted to tell you a story about the soldier and about this. I mean, specifically about what we're talking about here. You know, there was a soldier, World War II, Japanese, bullets flying all over the place. he got disoriented, you know, how war is, and he didn't know where his troops were. Eventually he was trying to get back, twisted his ankle, you know, couldn't walk anymore. The best he could do was crawl into a cave. And now, you know, he was stuck in a cave. Now the Japanese were going cave to cave. You could hear them way in the distance. And they would drop a grenade and shoot inside the cave. Drop a grenade, shoot inside the cave. So he knew that his number was going to come up. Finally, darkness came, you know, so the Japanese kind of stopped doing that, and they waited for the next morning kind of thing. So during that night, what can he do? You know, what can he do? All he could do was pray. All he could do was say, my gosh, I know tomorrow I'm probably going to go see my maker, but I wish I weren't going to die tomorrow because I want to do so much more. That moment, a little spider came down and started weaving a web, and weaving and weaving and weaving a web. And he smiled and said, well, at least you sent me a silk wall to protect me. When I really needed was a brick wall, but okay. And then the spider, all night long, spun that web, spun that web, spun that web. And you know that he spun it, and then the next day, you could hear the Japanese in the distance, go cave to cave, drop the grenade, shoot inside, drop the grenade, shoot inside. And he could hear them closer and closer and closer. He knew that his number was coming up because all he had was a spider web protecting him. When the Japanese got to the front of his cave, they looked at it and they said, oh, we don't have to worry about shooting inside of this cave because the spider web would not have been there if he would have disturbed the spider web. So the spider web actually kept the Japanese from throwing the grenade and shooting inside. This is where I mean that there is a higher power. There is someone that is looking out for you. You know, and I know sometimes we don't like to talk about this stuff. You know, it's kind of tough. But when somebody's like is on drugs, like we were talking about Dave Sharp, you know, his recovery, his need, you need to go to a higher power. You need to go to that energy, that source out there that would help you conquer these things, these adversities, so that he could help you make the burden lighter. It's like David and Goliath. I mean, yes, he managed to kill a giant with a slingshot, but it was his faith in his God that made him strong. That's what made him strong. And this is my message for today. And I wanted to complete this because it wouldn't be complete unless I managed to complete the message. And the message is, if you're going through adversity, it's only made to make you stronger. It's only made to make you so that tomorrow's victory, when you reach tomorrow, it will only be that much sweeter. When you look back, I can see Dave Sharp is so proud of, you know, of his accomplishment, of what he was able to do. And that's because he took the adversity and conquered it. Conquering adversity is the most incredible thing you can do. And on that note, I'll catch you on the next video diary.